I've spent nearly a decade, and I also spent nearly a decade at award-winning Mariah Films building documentary films. And now, I'm bringing all of that together. But at the heart of all of this is one guiding passion: creating environments, both physical and digital, where people can connect, co-create, and express themselves authentically. Today, I am the producer of Burnersphere, a social VR, immersive documentary experience about the culture of Burning Man. And I work with organizations and companies to apply the 10 principles of Burning Man as a framework for building inclusive, mission-driven communities that actually work. And here's the big idea that I want to share with you today. Burning Man's 10 principles can be a powerful framework for building resilient, inclusive, and mission-driven companies and cultures. Perfect. But first, let me give you a little bit of a background on who's Big Rock Creative. Well, we're an award-winning XR content creation company, a studio, and we specialize in immersive storytelling and virtual event experiences. We've had the honor to work with global organizations, including Microsoft, T-Mobile, the United Nations, and the Burning Man Project. Our work has been recognized by multiple awards, including, as Ed said, the Producers Guild Innovation Award and the Augie for Best Indie Creator, and many others. Our work, as many of you have been, okay. Sorry, I'm not used to doing this talk. I wrote a talk specifically for this conference, and so this is my first time giving it, and so my slides are not in the order I'm used to. How many people have been to Burning Man? Oh, this is sweet. How many people that know people that go to Burning Man? Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. How many people have been to a local regional event? That's super cool. Great. And I don't have to get into a big description of what Burning Man is. So, Burning Man is in Black Rock City, which is what you're seeing here, where 80,000 people gather to build a city and then take it all away as if we were never there, leaving no trace. That is quite the feat. But it's also a global community who create regional events and year-round happenings that welcome over 100,000 attendees collectively. And it's been happening for 39 years. We're almost going to celebrate our big 4-0 next year. Burning Man inspires people to be creative. It inspires people to connect in meaningful ways and work together towards a common goal. This inspiration is powerful. Now imagine taking this feeling and this energy and bringing it into your communities, into your organizations, and into your companies. The metaverse is a virtual world, and it has the potential to connect everyone, everywhere. And Burnersphere is making this happen. See, Burnersphere is not just a platform. It's a piece of technology. And it's not just a documentary. It's a living, breathing community. And it's alive because of the people who are part of it, people who are drawn to the story of communities that make up Burning Man. It grows because people share their ideas and their creativity. So what is Burnersphere? It is an immersive documentary experience built on a social VR framework. It started as a passion project of just friends getting together to solve a problem. We were simply reacting to the unprecedented circumstances of 2020. We wanted to create a digital space so that the burners could get together while we couldn't in Black Rock City. It was about creating a sense of normalcy, a place that felt like home, and a place that inspires creativity and harmony, a place to put the principles to practice. And see, that's where the 10 principles of Burning Man come in. I found that these not only apply in the physical world, but the digital world as well. These aren't rules or guidelines. They're a description of what it looks like when humanity is at its best. They're the foundational fabric for creative collaboration. Now, we weren't given these principles as a precept. They were literally written as a description of what it is to be a burner. You see, myself and Not That Dave in New York and George Papp in Austin were all producing events back in 2001 and 2002. I started going to Burning Man in '99. And we had to fill out permit paperwork. And the permit paperwork, you have to say who your community is before they'll give you a, I'm like, well, who are the burners? And Larry Harvey, in a stroke of genius, wrote 492 words that became the 10 principles of Burning Man. I want to point out something interesting to you about these. The principles are all actions. They're things that you're due. We're a do-ocracy. If you notice, leaving no trace, it's not leave no trace. It's leaving, it's an action. We achieve being through doing, and these are the things that we can do. My favorite principle is communal effort. And I'll tell you why, because communal effort leads to greater participation. You're making something bigger than you can do yourself, and therefore you're inviting other people to participate with you. That means that you're going to be radically inclusive. You can't say, well, you can participate, but you can't. You got to get your project done. So you're going to be radically inclusive. By being radically inclusive, you're actually helping people radically express themselves. And they're going to learn new skills along the way, which helps them become more radically self-reliant. And that is a gift that you're giving, and a gift of themselves that they get to provide for everyone else and for the project that you're doing. We decommodify this gift so that it is unconditional. It is without an expectation of reciprocity. And then we do it all by leaving no trace as a form of our civic responsibility. And that leads us to the touchstone, cornerstone of our entire community, which is immediacy. It is our be here now. We don't have any time to wait. I want to point one other thing out. We talk about radical. Radical comes from the Latin word radix, and radix means foundation. So when we say radical self-expression, we mean to your core, your most authentic self, your foundation of how you want to express yourself, not to an extreme. That is a more modern interpretation of the word. So this is the framework for our next evolution. For us to evolve from society to humanity, society being a group of Homo sapiens, and humanity being a group of human beings, because to be a humane being is what it means to be human. And we can be humanity together. So let's look at how we do that through the 5 pillars of participatory experience. These are your foundational framework to create a powerful and resilient, inclusive, and mission-aligned company or community culture. Let's start with our first pillar and my favorite principle, communal effort. Now, our community values cooperation and collaboration, and at the center of a successful community is communal effort, the willingness to take on something bigger than yourself. And when people are invited to co-create something meaningful, they don't just show up, they show up fully. They bring their hands, their hearts, and their genius. And this is what made LA Decompression so successful. I didn't run that event. I helped facilitate thousands of people participating in something larger than themselves. Every piece of it, from the fire performers to the street cleanup crews, was built by people who felt a deep sense of ownership. Culture thrives when people feel like participants, not passengers. Similar to GitHub, which has an open source model that encourages voluntary contribution, decentralized collaboration, it's a mouthful, developer empowerment, and exemplify communal effort, participation, radical self-reliance, and radical self-expression. And we use GitHub every single day. The Google founders were early burners who embraced a creative, experimental culture. They started something, and I don't know if this is still going on, but they had this policy of 20% time that empowered employees to innovate, and their playful, got employees to innovate by giving them back 20% of their time that they could do with whatever they wanted. And then they also had playful branding, like the first Google Doodle ever was a way of letting the world know that everyone was going to Burning Man. Our second pillar is use the principles as a diagnostic tool. The principles aren't just ideas, they're practical tools. When something isn't working, I go through them one at a time to figure out what's missing. And that's how we built BRCVR, our official virtual Burning Man experience during the pandemic. We were using AltSpace VR, and it didn't run on Mac. That meant a huge part of the burner community, including artists, DJs, and the entire Burning Man project office, were locked out. So I asked myself, what principle is missing? What principle's missing? Radical inclusion. So here's the twist. So AltSpace was owned by Microsoft, and we just so happened to meet Alex Kipman, the VP of Innovation on the Digital Playa, on the AltSpace platform, and he was thrilled, and he was also a burner. And he said, what can I do to help? And I said, well, you have to make it work on Mac. And he didn't even flinch. He was like, absolutely. And they went and they made a Mac client in 2 months. That was a crazy communal effort that they had to do. I had to ask for it, and I had to identify what principle was missing. And then everybody could play. And it wasn't just for our community, even though they told us it was. Radical inclusion, we gave it to everyone on the platform. So that's diagnosing principles and solving with communal effort. So Zappos is a great example of company culture steeped with principles of Burning Man. Tony Hsieh infused Zappos and the Downtown Project with burner values, encouraging a culture rooted in connection, play, and shared experience. The focus on customer happiness and community engagement echoed gifting and civic responsibility. And here's a trap I see too many companies fall into. They focus entirely on user experience, how someone will use their product. But users use and participants build. The third pillar is design for participation. If you want a vibrant culture, don't ask how will they use it, ask how will they participate with it. Shift UX to PX. Meow Wolf isn't designed for attendees. It's designed for participants. And that design principle shifts everything from architecture to onboarding. Meow Wolf creates immersive worlds through collective artistry. Their revenue share model fosters shared ownership and boundless creativity. Participation turns passive users into active community members. So when you're designing green tech, community programs, or internal teams, design for the participants' experience, your PX. And here's something magical that happens when you activate one principle. Others naturally follow. The fourth pillar is let the principles cascade, like I described them earlier. So when you invite participation, people express themselves. And through that expression, they develop skills and confidence, radical self-reliance, and so on. So culture becomes self-generating. You will see in organizations like the Walter Hive in Scottsdale, a makerspace that offers hands-on art and STEAM, not STEM, experiences. People show up to build something, not just for themselves, but with and for community. It's art, it's education, and it's empowerment all rolled into one. I believe that STEAM education is what is the most important. Science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. Creative thinking is how we innovate. Patagonia is not just a clothing company. They are known for their ethical business practices and environmental policies. Patagonia exemplifies civic responsibility. They actively promote personal agency and responsibility, self-reliance, while rejecting consumerism for its own sake, decommodification. Their "Don't buy this jacket" and "Put used to use" campaigns echo burner values. And finally, the fifth pillar, anchor in immediacy. Immediate experience is, in many ways, the most important touchstone value of our culture. The work we're doing in climate, in equity, and in culture, it can't wait. We don't need a 5-year plan. We need right now action. When people feel the immediacy of their participation, they show up today. Burning Man taught me this. The future is built in the present moment, dust, plywood, and heartbeats. And your company's culture isn't what's written on your values page. It's what people feel empowered to do today. So here's my challenge to you. What principle is missing in your company or community right now? Is it participation, radical inclusion? Are you doing it all yourself? Where's communal effort? Diagnose it, name it, and then invite your people to help fix it together. And that's exactly what we are doing with Burnersphere. We are modeling our community. Because when we design for participation, we don't just build better companies. We build stronger cultures, deeper communities, and a more sustainable, just world. So I'm inviting you to participate in the communal effort of Burnersphere. You're radically included to radically express yourself and maybe learn some new skills along the way. And be radically self-reliant. Then share them as a gift to others. This is your immediate moment to scan our QR code and learn more. And talk to me after to learn how we can build your community together in your own digital space. Thank you.